Okay, hello. So someone in the comment section asked me to talk about toxic relationships, like people, toxic situations overall. And so this video is going to be kind of long. It's not my intention, but there's just a lot to go into with that. So I'm going to try to shorten it, but still make sure that I reach key points within that. So basically toxic people and how to deal with that. All right, here we go. So you try and 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 you try. And then you just keep trying and trying and trying, and then you wait some time, and then you try again and you try again and you try again, and then each time it fails, and there's actually a reason for that, So toxic relationships and toxic situations overall. So that could be situationships, I guess toxic situationships. I feel like situationships in their self is somewhat toxic, even though I know some people can have an agreement, they both agreed to do this situationship type thing, but a lot of times it is toxic. But everyone's different, so I guess there could be healthy situationships, but that's not going to come from me though. I don't think situationships are something to strive for, you know what I mean? Especially if you know that you're a person that wants a healthy relationship, a situationship isn't what you're looking for. So depending on what you're talking about. So when it comes to toxic people, it can be maybe your friends are toxic, or your coworkers at work. Maybe your boss is toxic, the people that you're around there, or maybe in your household, maybe if you are dealing with a toxic mom, or a toxic father, or toxic siblings, toxic family members overall. And then the relationship thing. So I'll start with your family, for example. If you are a person dealing with say your mother's toxic, she's the type of person that has not healed from her trauma. So there's a lot of one thing that can happen for women, your mothers can envy you, and what that basically means is hasn't realized that everything's special and unique, and things that she admires about you, she hasn't realized that she also has that in herself. So that's causing her to have these negative emotions, and she's jealous of you. That's something that can happen, where a mother is envious of her daughter, even though she, contributed towards you being here. So in that sense, you see this beauty in this person. You also have that beauty within you, but people that haven't healed from their trauma and toxic, habits and core beliefs, they're not gonna view themselves as that. And with them having that type of belief, that causes them to start to act a certain type of way towards their daughters, and it leads them to engaging in certain actions, whether that's intentionally doing things to set their daughters up, and intentionally trying to diminish their daughters confidence and self-esteem, where they'll start to say certain types of things to them to lower their standards. If they know about any insecurities that you have, that's something that they definitely will try to amplify. They'll definitely try to amplify that, and they'll, again, maybe even other family members, they might start trying to, push this type of image towards other family members to get them to feel a certain type of way about you at all. Just think about in movies when, there's the main character, she's just a good student or a good kid, whatever, and then you'll have the mean girls that are hating on her, and they try to do everything in their power to make everybody not like the girl. That's your mother, you know what I mean? Especially, like I said, if you're noticing that she's envious, and a mother and daughter relationship shouldn't be like that. I mean, father and son shouldn't be like that, father and daughter shouldn't be like that. Family member relationships should not be a thing of okay, I'm gonna try everything in my power, use all of my energy to take you down, to see you, because I see you as my enemy, so I'm gonna do everything in my power to ruin your life, basically. And another thing too that can happen is a mother might try to be a frenemy, where they'll be kind to their daughter, and they'll start to lead them into certain directions, trying to push a certain ideology on them to make them think that certain things are okay. And the whole time the mother doesn't even think that those things are okay, but because the mother fell for it, or the mother had to go through that, or the mother dealt with it, and she hasn't healed from that and hasn't dealt with that, so she still has all those emotions and feelings inside, and probably thinks that she's the only one in the entire world that had to go through that. So she has a victim complex. So now that she has this female human being, you know, that, say if it was like a relationship type of thing, maybe she, you know, hasn't loved herself, so she continuously keeps attracting the same type of partners where like they're always cheating on her or talking about her, talking bad on her. Maybe they were abusive to her, maybe they like picked a younger woman or something like that, you know. So your mom seeing you as a younger woman, an attractive woman, whatever it is, and you're getting like male attention, your mother could not befriend you, but it's like she just tries to make suggestions to lead you into a certain direction of like saying that it's a good thing to go and sleep around or something. And this is not, in my personal opinion, type thing. This is like just different things that I've actually seen in life that people actually do, you know what I mean? And there's always a deeper meaning behind all of this stuff versus it being like this person's just absolutely evil. It's like more to it than that, you know? But yeah, she might tell you that, yeah, you should sleep with John and you should also sleep with Eric because they can't control you. You're a grown woman now. Do you understand that? Like, and they'll try to like portray this certain type of image and just steer you in the wrong direction. So it's kind of like that frenemies thing where, like, you know that saying where they're like, keep your friends close and your enemies closer, kind of like that, but it's your mother. There's a limit to it, I would say, because it's definitely okay to have an understanding of everything in this world, and you set things up to where, you know, you don't want your daughter or your son to like experience these things, so like you have these certain types of restrictions to keep them safe. But there's some where they go above and beyond, where they start to invade your privacy, where they start to go through any and everything, and then they start to take action. Another way that your mom could be toxic is she tries to live through you. Like maybe if she had you at an early age, she didn't get to experience the normal, typical, like younger generation type of life where she's exploring herself, has that time to actually learn herself and figure out the things that she wants in life. So now that you are here, she's going to be doing that through you, where she tries to push everything that she believes and that she wanted to experience through you. And again, I don't think that's necessarily a toxic or a bad thing, because say that, you know, some of this is like a healthy type of guidance where it's just giving you a path to like start at, and, you know, say that you don't want to do these things and they allow you to obviously be yourself and to go the direction that you want. But I'm just more so mean as far as like toxic goes, where they're trying to control any and everything that you do, and their beliefs and their wants and needs are the only thing that's important whenever it comes to you, as if you are their property or as if they are you in that sense. So toxic family members. So a way that family members can be toxic, because I've already talked about the mom. Now this goes more so whether that's like an auntie, or you have like a great aunt or a grandmother or uncles or like cousins, just other family members, that extended family. So the way that they can be toxic is basically, I always say this, but it's like all of this stuff is like, these people are not healed. So a lot of this is just a bunch of projection. It's a lot of insecurities. It's a lot of self-doubt, and they're just literally putting it up. But that's not an excuse to like feel bad for these people and to allow these people to still be in your life. How you deal with the toxic mom, let me go back to that. So how you deal with the toxic mom is basically creating boundaries, like depending on what age you are, because it's going to obviously be hard if you're like 14, 15. If you're still a minor, it's going to be hard trying to create boundaries and then they actually like stick to them and listen to them. But like when you get more towards the age of like 18, you're going to be able to like move out and fulfill those type of boundaries where you just cut people out of your life. Like once you set those boundaries, and you know, you don't have to over explain yourself, because you don't owe anybody an explanation, you know. But if you want to, because this is your mother, then, you know, obviously free will, you can do whatever you want. But just understand that you don't owe anybody anything. You know, you don't owe them access to you just because they had you. You know, at the end of the day, we are all human beings. And if someone is not making the decision to better themselves mentally and emotionally and adding to your life and contributing towards your growth, and also wanting to grow as a person for themselves. So helping you grow is a thing that they are actually interested in. If that's not them, then that's not someone that you want to have in your life. So the thing that you do is you create boundaries to eliminate these toxic behaviors that are hindering you as a person and your growth and your progress in life. And you can, like I said, you can let them know, like, these are your boundaries, or whatever restrictions or types of things that you are not comfortable with, that you don't allow, like, and you let them know that. And then, like, as they start to violate them, you know, you just cut all ties. And that doesn't have to be forever, or maybe it's just like you just don't allow them that much access to you. So it's like, okay, maybe at first you were spending time around them, but then they started those toxic behaviors again. So then you cut off the actual physical, like, being in their presence. And then, like, say you only have phone calls, but then from the phone calls they started doing the same type of thing, but now they're just only verbally. So then you eliminate the phone calls, go to text messages. If they start doing text messaging, you eliminate that and you cut off all contact. However you want to do it. It's just you removing this person from your life because they are draining you. So yeah. The other way family members can be toxic as well. So gossiping, you know. You already know what gossiping is. You know what gossiping looks like. There's plenty of movies with examples of gossiping, or maybe if you've experienced it in your life, where you'll have a group of family members, all types of ages, that just are putting all this, like, hating type of energy towards you and trying to, I guess they're trying to have you be insecure. Like, they'll start making comments about maybe your physical appearance. They'll talk about your hair. I'll use that as an example. One of the insecurities that a lot of these family members tried to push onto me was about my hair, where they used to use very derogatory type of names in saying that I needed to get, like, a perm, or I needed to get my hair done, or I needed to, like, flat iron it. You know, at the time, obviously those things were hurtful, and those things definitely had an effect on me. But, like, as I grew older, I mean, you see, I mean, I've never had a perm or any chemically processed type of hair at all, because it was just a personal preference. Even though that sort of thing did affect me, it's like, I don't know, I just never, I mean, I've always liked having natural hair, because, personal opinion, even when I was younger, I used to see how permed hair looked, and it was just not something that I was drawn to. But not to get too much off the topic, though. So yeah, they would make certain comments about the hair and stuff, but the reason that they're doing that is because that's the sort of thing that was pushed onto them, and those are the type of things that they picked up on as children. Oh, that sort of hair is not cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna perm it. And since they perm their hair, and they have all these, like, negative thoughts about natural hair and hatred towards other things, that's causing them to have hatred towards, you know, it gets real deep. But yeah, I mean, I know you could just, like, ignore them, but definitely creating boundaries, because obviously it being your family, that means that, you know, you guys be in close proximity to each other a lot. And it's like, well, how can you get away from that? If you're not a kid anymore, if you're 18 or older, you can create boundaries and remove yourself from the situation. If it's a situation where you still live with them, at the end of the day, it's like, what do you want for yourself, and how are you going to deal with it? Because, like, I guess there's another way too. Like, you can coexist. Like, you can, if you've allowed yourself to heal and to reach a certain point where you can deal with certain toxic things and not have a reaction to it, to where the situation would escalate and it's not going to affect you mentally, because you've already built that foundation for yourself, where you think a certain type of way about yourself, you believe a certain type of way about yourself, so anything external doesn't affect you. Then in that sense, I can see, you know, you could probably still be in that situation. That's not, you know, always ideal for everyone. It just depends on your situation. Because, like, again, if you're not in a situation where you want your own apartment, you still want to be able to live there, because maybe you're trying to, like, build a foundation, whatever it is. Yeah, having that understanding within yourself, so that sort of thing doesn't affect you. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many times you, like, argue with someone. If they think a certain type of way, it's like, imagine it like a program. Imagine it like a program. This individual was completely programmed with a bunch of negative and ignorant self-thoughts and just very harmful self-thoughts and very toxic self-thoughts. That's their entire programming. Just think of it like that. That's just a box full of negative energy. It doesn't matter what you say if this is the programming that this individual has, you know? Or like, you can literally think about it as like a computer. If a certain computer was programmed to do something, a specific task, like, you're not going to be able to just type and try to do something else if it's not in its programming. I hope what I said makes sense. So just to recap on how to deal with a toxic mother or a toxic family member, just cut them out of your life. Remove them from your life. If it's a situation where you live there and you want to stay there, then create boundaries, build that relationship with yourself so that you have that iron foundation in there that just cannot be moved, you know, and coexist there if that's what you want to do. Outside of that, like trying to control people, you trying to control them because maybe you have healed and you want to change them, it's not going to happen. Don't waste your time trying to change people. That doesn't mean don't speak light into people or, you know, don't give advice if they want it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying spending all of your time and effort trying to argue with someone about something, it's just not going to work. And yeah, so you can either cut them out of your life, you know, create boundaries, remove yourself from this situation. Yeah, that's what I would say about that. As far as relationships, so, okay, I'll start with situationships. So I feel like a lot of times situationships happen, somebody within that either wanted a relationship and one person wanted a relationship and one person didn't. So it ended up becoming a situationship because, well, and the person that wanted the relationship, their mindset probably was, well, if I stay here, if I do these things, I'm going to be able to convince this person that I'm worthy of a relationship. And so they end up in a situationship. The other thing is maybe it was some type of one-night stand or something, and that was just a routine that they had. So in that sense, it is a situationship. But majority of people, I feel it was a situation where one person wanted a relationship and one person didn't, and they felt like they could convince this person that they would be worthy of a relationship if they do all these things. Or even if they weren't thinking that they could convince this person, it was more so a thing of like, okay, well, I'm just gonna hang out with this person and it's something that's going to just eventually change and turn into a relationship, and then it just never happened, so it ended up being a situationship. Again, remove yourself from the situation, cut the person off. Like, there's no way to try to change someone, and it's not going to happen, because what you have to understand is, if it was, and listen, because I don't want anybody going in the comments saying, well, I was in a situationship and it turned into a relationship. That's like really great, you know, like good for you, you know. But majority of people don't see that, like don't see a comment like that and then think that that can happen for you. Like, situationships are not something to strive for if you are a person that desires a healthy relationship. A lot of situationships come from not upholding your own standards, like either not having standards or not upholding your standards, and you're compromising on your standards and boundaries for someone specific, which you should not do. Because the only thing that's gonna do is get you in a situation where you're unhappy, and you're just gonna be there, and it's gonna really drain you. It's gonna be depressing, it's gonna be very painful, and it's gonna be toxic. You know, toxic in the sense, because there's some situations where they're there and this person knows the right words to say, and you are still a person that is capable of being manipulated. And so this person's able to say whatever they want to say to you, and they know the right things to say to you to convince you to stay in that, you know, which is going to end up being a toxic cycle. Where, say if you maybe decided you were gonna leave, and they say something like, you know, I've never met anybody like you, or whatever it is. There's a bunch of different things that can be said. You know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. So yeah, just remove yourself from that. You can start by creating boundaries with yourself as well. If you know that not even an if. I was gonna say something, but that wouldn't even make sense. Like, just cut them off. Like, it just, I don't know what else to say. Like, just cut the person off. I was gonna say, like, you can hang out with this person and slowly, like, I would just cut it off cold turkey. The situation is not pouring into me. It's not contributing towards anything that I want out of life. It's dead. It's done. Like, leave it alone, you know? Cut off communication. Go no contact, you know? Don't allow yourself to be around that person. Do not check their social medias, you know, because whenever you do that, it's going to just feed into the thoughts and feelings that still exist there. And then say if somehow they end up getting in contact with you again, or you might end up unblocking them, and then that's going to allow them back into your space. And then you might think, because, okay, well, I haven't talked to him in 2 weeks, let's see if it's going to be different now. Y'all talk, everything's going smoothly, and 5 months later, it's literally been the same thing that it was before you cut them off. So yeah, don't break that no contact. I went through a couple different things within this video. I hope that this helps and answers some of your questions. I feel like some of this stuff is definitely relatable. At the end of the day, just know that there is another side to this, and there is a way to solve it. It can feel very like as if you're like trapped and can't get out of a situation, but you definitely can. There's always a way. If you resonate with anything I spoke about, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing so that this video reaches someone who may also need to hear this message. Thank you and bye.